So this is Trisha Schmalhofer with BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, and Mystics. And I am here with a BAM, Dr. Karen Can. Yay!
Hey, Trisha. Thanks for having me.
I'm just so glad. I am like really glad and excited to talk to you. And because I read your chapter and it's amazing, and so many tips in there about dealing with your intuition, not dealing with, embracing your intuition and how to navigate through that. And we are in the book together, Navigating the Clickety-Clack, right? How to live a peace-filled life in a seemingly toxic world. That's the one.
Yes. #1 international bestseller.
So, and in your chapter, Karen, well, first, is this your first bestseller?
Actually, no. I lucked upon, I'm saying lucked upon because I didn't really know what I was doing, but back in 2014, I released a Kindle, and it was a very, very big book, 416 pages, called Guide to Healing Chronic Pain, a Holistic Approach. And one of my friends, Linda Santacola, said, hey, you know, I'm taking this course and I'll give you some tips on how to get, you know, more sales. And I was like, oh, great, you know. So she's like, oh, well, you do this and you do this. And so I was like, okay. So, you know, it took me some technical know-how to try to figure out how to make it into a Kindle. I didn't understand the whole process. She kind of walked me through it and helped me out. And she had a little recipe book, and she got, I think, 2,000 downloads in a weekend. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So I'm thinking, okay, so I'm going to make my goal twice that, like 4,000, because she didn't have as big a mailing list as I did, but so I said 4,000. So I did the whole thing she told me to do and released it on Kindle. And by the end of that weekend, we had 15,000 downloads.
Oh,
so it became a #1 bestseller. Like I said, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I think the universe had, you know, was like, yep, that's where we want you to be. So, because I wanted to be a relationship coach before that. My first ebook was having to do with manifesting your ideal love partner. And I thought it was a great book. And I did all this, you know, coaching and counseling. But the universe was like, no, we don't want you there.
yeah.
We want you here, right? So there was all this like momentum away from that, which I understand now. So, but the Navigating Clickety-Clack is actually the third #1 bestseller. The second one was Evolutionary Healer, which was a month before, actually 2 months before our Navigating Clickety-Clack. And and so Navigating the Clickety-Clack is #3 #1 bestseller. And tomorrow, hopefully, will be the #4 #1 bestseller for the book, Sensitivity is Your Superpower.
Yes. So those of you that are viewing this, behind Karen is her book being released tomorrow, and the future 4th bestseller, Sensitivity is Your Superpower. And we're going to talk about that book in the second part, because you gave me a digital copy, and I've been like devouring it. It's amazing. So Navigating the Clickety-Clack, your chapter, like you talked about your first bestseller being about relationships, right? And I'm sure like everyone wants to know how to find their relationship, but then the universe was saying, no, that's not.
Well, actually, the Guide to Healing Chronic Pain was the bestseller, but the book before that didn't really have a lot of traction. My marketing was pretty green back then, and I wanted to be a relationship coach, and the universe was just, you know, shutting doors.
Well, that's what I want to get to, because in your chapter, you explain that you are a medical doctor, you were an acupuncturist, you were in your practice doing well, and kind of a similar thing started happening of, maybe this isn't where the universe wants me.
Yeah, that's right. I think that, you know, it was hard enough as a medical doctor to, you know, I grew up in Canada. I did all my training in Canada. I had wonderful, you know, opportunities in medical clinics. I was so, you know, well thought of and popular. Like all these doctors, like, are you going to work with me? Are you going to work with me? You know, and at that time, my husband wanted to finish his PhD, and his professor came down to Lake Placid, New York. And he's like, look, I gotta go, you know? So it was either split up or go with my husband. So I decided to go with my husband, could not find a job. Okay, so here I am in the States. And here I am, super popular in Ottawa. Everyone wants me to be part of their clinic. And I go to the States. Nobody knows me from the hole in the ground. They have no idea who I am. Nobody wants to hire me. And I'm like, whoa. But then finally, I get hired in the green card, and it was a whole clickety clack in that whole trying to get a green card.
Yeah.
And then finally, I'm, successful in this practice. And then I get sick, really, really, really sick, because I was trying to like build a house, and, all the money that I earned from, being salaried, was going towards the house. But honestly, I couldn't admit at the time, but I couldn't care less about building the house. Like my husband, it was his thing. We ended up splitting up, and I ended up getting really sick because I was just going against the grain of what my heart and soul really wanted. I didn't even know what I wanted. I just was doing whatever anybody else said was good for me. So I followed my husband. And then even with my patients, it was like, what's good for them? What's good for them? I never really thought about, is this okay for me? So when the call came to be like, I think it's time to transition out of your practice, I already went from traditional medical doctor to acupuncturist, which my parents were a little like, is there money in that? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then I went acupuncture to like energy healing, and they're like, oh my God, what are you doing? You're a medical doctor.
You're destroying your life.
You're ruining your, yeah, it wasn't that bad, but I mean, with the divorce, they definitely said you're ruining your life. But that was a real clickety clack there too. But as far as after a while, I think they saw how happy I was. So they were like, well, she'll figure it out. Yeah. We don't know why she's retiring, but oh well,
Yes. And I know my parents kind of went through that too when I started to explore different things where my heart was leading me. And so you said what some of the illnesses that you were facing, I remember like fibromyalgia was one. Just to put that out there to people that have that, what else was going on in your body? So maybe they can recognize that, hey, if you have these like odd things, like this might be really what's happening on an energetic level, is something needs to shift.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue syndrome, two of the diagnoses that most traditional medical doctors shun, or at least pray that they don't have those patients to see, because they're traditionally extremely challenging and can be viewed as extremely whiny, complainy. They have all sorts of weird symptoms that we cannot medically diagnose or understand. Like I used to have people come to my office go, I have buzzing on the whole left side of my body and it's horrible and I can't sleep. And I do every single neurological test known to man and I can't find anything wrong with them.
Exactly.
Why? Because the medical tests that we have don't diagnose that kind of imbalance, that kind of energetic imbalance. Now with Chinese medicine, with light medicine, it's a different story. We can definitely, figure out what's going on. But with Western medicine, it was really difficult. And these people were on a ton of medications that did not make them feel better. If anything, it made them feel worse. And then I had to go through that where I diagnosed myself really and went to my colleague and she did all these labs. Labs are fine, of course. And, but I was completely burnt out from stress, building a house, doing everything for everyone except for myself. And I think one of the emotions that comes with fibromyalgia, which is pain all over the body, by the way, for people that don't know what that's like. It's like being hit by a truck. You're really, really tired. You feel pain all the time. You can't, really sleep because you're in so much pain. You start getting depressed. No one knows what to do with you. Pain medications don't work. Antidepressants don't work. Nothing works, basically.
Yes.
But the one emotional trend I see with fibromyalgia, given that I've had it myself, my mother had had it, is one of resentment.
Oh.
Yeah, resentment. And I remember one of my acupuncturists who was helping me, she said, do you mind if I do some cranial sacral and some Reiki? And I was like, whatever. I do whatever you need to do. I didn't understand that stuff back then.
By the way, that's like two of the things I do, craniosacral.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's great.
So you're like, sure, whatever.
Yeah, and she told, this was many years ago when I started my healing journey, and she put her hands near my liver and she went, oh my. And I was like, what? And she goes, well, I see truckloads and truckloads of black stuff leaving your liver right now. So I'm just going to help it. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's really weird. I don't understand. So I got interested in energy medicine and psychic powers and things like that, and actually went to do some training with a local spiritual healer related to that, and started understanding, what this acupuncturist was seeing, but that resentment that's usually locked. So we tend to be people that are yes people, can't say no. So that resentment builds up, builds up, builds up, builds up, and that tends to go with that diagnosis. I'm not saying everybody with fibromyalgia has that,
of course,
but it's very, very common.
Yes, yeah. And that was your experience. So that's kind of how that you kind of got into. I love Doctor of Light. I love that title that you have taken on. I'm all about bringing light in the body, letting light come out of the cells, and, transformation.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So explain Doctor of Light. Can you explain that title and just what that means?
Right. Well, I think that the light, at the end of the day, everything is energy, even our table, that looks solid is really vibrating energy in the quantum, right? So light medicine, or being a doctor of light medicine, really describes a way in which we can support healing body, mind, soul, in a person through the use of frequencies and vibration and light. And that includes the spiritual realm as well, because there's a lot of things that I do that are very unique and somewhat woo-woo and weird to some people, including removing frequencies related to like curses, negative thought forms, negative emotional energies, things that people resonate with because they're kind of connected to the collective, what we call the collective unconscious. So some of the highly sensitive people that I work with will actually be able to tune in and feel the negative emotions of the masses and think it's theirs, but it's really other people's stuff. So they tend to have intractable, if they don't know, they tend to have intractable depression and anxiety, and they don't understand that they're not feeling just their stuff. They're feeling Mother Earth sometimes. They're feeling another universe. They might be feeling their alternate self in another timeline. They might be feeling their soul contract partner. So it's very confusing for highly sensitive people. And so I kind of delve into that realm, and so light medicine kind of encompasses all those possibilities, all those quantum possibilities, and using vibration, energy, healing, intention, and attention for healing body, mind, and soul.
Yes. You, if you see, I don't know if you can see behind me, a line, ask, allow.
I looked at that earlier. Yeah. I love it.
I know. And there were so many things in your chapter that I loved, but I think that I liked the most, that and to be and do at the same time, which I really resonated with, because I also like to work and move. I enjoy what I do. And,
you're a doer, you're active, right?
I'm an active person.
Yeah.
And in your chapter, you talk about being able to do both, to be in stillness and be aware of what's happening in the body while you're going through life. And so that's, I think, for a lot of active people, especially people that cannot sit and calm their mind and meditate, like even with years of practice, they're still kind of struggling with that. So I loved that concept of being able to be and do at the same time. But the simple align, ask, allow, you're just really good, even in your new book, of taking these concepts, Karen, and bringing them into like the left lobe of the brain, like having the charts, you break it down into steps, right? And so it's a really balanced brain approach to some like esoteric things and quantum things. So
thank you for noticing that. That's actually, one of our other co-authors in the Navigating the Clickety-Clack, Marcus Bird. It's actually, he taught us in the Wellness Leadership Academy. I'm one of his students. And he's one of my mentors, how to communicate and to be able to teach people through all the 4 different ways of learning. I'm a very visual learner, so that's why models are really helpful for me, because I like seeing pictures.
Models.
Stories are really good for me, because that's a natural for me, just to tell stories. Not so good on some of the left brain communication and the steps, but when we include all those 4 ways of communicating, I think we can connect with more people. And that's the important thing for me, is be able to connect with as many people as possible and make a difference in their lives.
Yes, for sure. We have some people watching, and Leo Williamson, who was also in the book with us, is saying,
Hey, Leah.
Hi, Leah. Woo woo is becoming the new mainstream. And I'm in agreement with her there. A lot of healers and people that like science and like spirituality, or it's starting to merge together, you know, and bringing and shifting the science world and the medical world. So I know I'm in alignment with that. And I feel like that's part of my purpose here. And so the Align, Ask, Allow, do you want to just kind of briefly go over that, or where do you want to go with this, Karen? Where do you want to go?
Well, I think that, when we talk about the navigating the clickety-clack, what I really love about it is that each of the authors shares their own personal story and their perspective, and there are so many tools in the toolbox. There's so many different tools, because what, resonates for one person reading, they might, really resonate with chapter 5 and chapter 8, for example, right? And maybe not my chapter, and other people may really resonate with my chapter. And so I think there's so many different things that are available. And when people are in what we call the clickety-clack, which is that stress, like, unfortunate things happening, like, for example, this past week, I just found out, like my dear aunt and uncle, like the closest ones that we grew up with, that I know the best, my uncle ended up in the hospital in Hong Kong, and my aunt was still in Canada, and she is a very, very dear aunt to me. And, she is going through that clickety-clack. Her husband is thousands of miles away, and she can't be there. I mean, she's there physically now, although they have to quarantine for 2 weeks anyway, but she didn't sleep, and I get it. There's a lot of people that are losing sleep, whether it be from the elections or what's going on in their family or illness. So, and people keep wanting 2020 to end. Yeah. And that's a problem in there, because it's a habit that I used to have, which I call futurizing. Now, it's good to see your future reality, and you can do that through the stillness, that being and doing I talked about in my chapter, and that's a good thing. You manifest things that way. But if you go, I'm only going to be happy when 2020 is over, right? I hope 2021 is better, right? That attitude actually causes more grief and strife, because you have this expectation that the future, whatever it's going to be, is going to make you happy and peaceful. And you and I know, as wellness leaders, that that's not how it works.
No.
Yeah, because stuff is always going to be happening, and we have to learn how to handle that. So by aligning to yourself, the true wisdom, the inner wisdom, and there's steps in my chapter on how to do that. And many of the wellness leaders in the book do that as well. And being able to, ask in that space for support and help, and even what I call quality questions. In the training that I do for healers, we teach them how to do that alignment, asking source for the ideal, scenario, like how do I help this person heal? And then our third A is actually activate. In the Topican healing method, we activate specific healing frequencies and energies to help people. But I'll let people, see the chapter for more specifics on the Align, Ask, Allow. But the stillness on the fly is the technique that is being taught in that chapter. And there's actually a free link that people can go for, a 26-minute training on it as well, stillnessonthefly.com.
I love Stillness on the Fly. So if you have the Clickety Clack book, if you're listening, definitely go to Karen's chapter and get that free gift. And it's karencan.com is your website, correct? Yeah, I did some exploration. It's an amazing website full of resources and information. So definitely check that out. So let's talk about your new book, Sensitivity is Your Superpower, which comes out tomorrow. Yeah. Which it's going to be 12/10/2020 for those that are listening and in the future, right?
Right.
So is it going to be available on Amazon, Karen?
Yeah, so for launch day tomorrow, which is 12/10/2020, The Kindle is going to be available for 99 cents to support the launch. So people can buy the Kindle, and if they really like the feel of a soft cover like I do, then you can also get the paperback for $5 off of the regular price. So normally it's $19.99, and it's going to be $14.99, I believe, until the 12th of December. And the cool thing is that I've amassed over $1,000 in bonus gifts for people that are supporting the book launch, who are buying the book this week. And folks can go to a special website for that. Now, we're not releasing that name until tomorrow, where the special gifts are. But I'm also doing a book launch party tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern, so folks can definitely join me there. We have a big webinar room, 5,000 people. We're actually going to do the launch party, and we're actually going to do some work from one of the chapters in this book called Transformational Telepathy.
Oh, that was one of my favorite chapters.
Oh, really? That's cool.
Yes.
So people can show up there. You do have to register, so that is superpowerbooklaunchparty.com is the pretty link to go to the registration.
Okay.
So, so superpowerbooklaunchparty.com, and then it's free to register. And then we're giving away prizes during that, as well as doing that mini workshop on transformational telepathy. So at the end of that workshop, you'll know at least how to do level 1 transformational telepathy, and I can't wait to hear what people's results are.
Yes. All right. So yes, transformational telepathy, some of the other topics in the book, intuitive impressioning, divine muscle testing, clearing negative energy, I love the soul mission matrix that you have there.
Thank you.
If any of these titles or words like really intrigue you, then this book is for you. And so sensitivity is your superpower. Was it 30% of the population are sensitive souls? Is that the correct number?
Yeah, the latest research we have from 2018 from Elaine Aron and her colleagues is that approximately 30% of the population is considered highly sensitive. So, and the way they've evaluated it is that these highly sensitive people tend to have symptoms related to like loud noises, bright lights, chemical smells, electromagnetic frequency sensitivity. They're sensitive to pesticides, negative emotions. I mean, they tend to be symptomatic with some of the things that non-sensitives don't seem to be bothered by. And that does not make them weak, actually. They're more like, I hate the word, but I think the term is canary in a coal mine, meaning that they can sense negative energy much sooner than the non-sensitive. The non-sensitive might get cancer and have no idea where that came from. Right.
But a
sensitive soul may have issues early on and know immediately something is wrong. Something does not feel good here.
Yeah.
And if they know how to harness that gift, they can ask the right questions and actually do self-healing on a much higher level.
Right. In my opinion, I feel like that number's rising. I feel like
it's rising too. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think
40 years ago it was only 20%.
And I think just as we evolve as humans, like becoming more sensitive to these quantum energies, these vibrations is just it's going to be part of being a human being in a body. It's going to be. So
humanity's evolution.
Yeah.
I've noticed it in so-called non-sensitives as well, that they are showing signs of sensitivity that they did not have. Not that they recognize it or even appreciate it.
Yes.
But I was doing this was many months ago, but a kung fu thing with one of my partners, and he would be traditionally labeled a non-sensitive, and he was making an error in one of our kung fu drills. But instead of telling him the error or showing him the error, I actually thought it. So I said to him in my mind, hey, you need to raise this arm because otherwise I can do this or that, whatever. And within seconds, he made the correction. And then, of course, I had to stop and go, oh my God, you just heard me telepathize. He goes, what?
What are you talking about? I just moved my arm.
I said, I just talked to you on my mind and you responded. He goes, That's nice.
Whatever, weirdo. No. I embrace my weirdness. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
weirdness rocks.
it does. Embrace it. Because I work with animals, and you talk about this in the book, but I believe we're all telepathic. I believe that as a human race, we used to communicate that way all the time, and then we kind of got out of it, and I feel like it's coming back, and we need to harness this. And you have a whole chapter in the book about that. And I think, as you also talk about, a lot of people have memory. Was it Dolores Cannon you were talking about, where she did the hypnosis? And yes, people remember lives on other planets where telepathy was how people communicated. And I feel like that's kind of a normal thing to embrace. So the sensitive soul. So I'm just going to acknowledge Graham Williamson is on, and he said that magnetic sensitivity is one of the major headache cause I have experienced. It's a biggie. So he's saying the magnetic sensitivity is for headaches. And yeah, headaches have a lot of different causes.
Yeah, especially for highly sensitive people. I used to be so sensitive to EMF that I would be in my acupuncture office, and I remember clearly, one of my patients walked in, and they started feeling like someone was draining the energy from me. And I said, do you have a new cell phone? She goes, how did you know?
Yeah.
And I said, she goes, oh yeah, it's the latest model of the iPhone, whatever it was back then, right? And I said, I'm turning it off because I can feel it from over here. And she goes, you can?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it doesn't feel good, right? But what's really cool with light medicine is we can help people become more resilient energetically. We can actually rewire like a blueprint, if you will, in the energy body. Now, of course, you still live in the physical world, so you can't like not take care of yourself and think, oh, energy is going to take care of everything.
Exactly. Thank you.
Still take care of your physical.
You have to.
But we can help people become much more resilient. Like one of my former clients was deathly allergic to mold, and his mother's house was full of it, and he could not convince his mother and father to remediate the mold. And I think it was making them ill. And, but he could not convince them, but he felt obligated to visit them as an adult child, and every time he went, he would be 2 weeks or more, like in bed, like he would be so sick. So I said, look, I would prefer you to choose not to go visit, and you can tell them why. You already did. That's your choice. However, let's see what we can do. Let's download some resiliency codes to you and tolerance codes to you, so you have the blueprints to at least ameliorate some of that. And we actually energetically did what we could to change the channel, if you will, the frequency of the mold in the house at the time.
Yeah.
So 2 days later, he went to visit them, and he was not down for the count. He actually had very, very mild symptoms and was thrilled that he wasn't so sick. So there are things that you could do energetically that make a huge difference very quickly.
Definitely, because everything does vibrate and has resonance. And a lot of people that describe themselves as empaths, which I would think would be a sensitive soul, they're victims to it. It really just overwhelms them. And people in my practice that come in, they're like, well, I shield myself. And it's like, you got to watch that, because you want to be able to, you don't want to walk around like blocked off from everything, with the mentality that everything's out to get you. I like the resiliency that you're talking about. Just the words that you're using to describe what people are feeling, and then how to change the resonance. It's a very empowering way that you're teaching people, rather than you have to protect yourself and shield up against all the negative and the vampires out there. It's like, empower and embrace it, and change the resonance. I always say recalibrate. That's the word.
Yeah, I love that word, recalibrate.
Yeah, like recalibrate your cells, recalibrate your system, like shift in response to what's coming. So
Right.
yeah.
And then that stillness through observing internal movement and the navigating the clickety clack book, which is detailed in the Sensitivity Your Superpower as well. That stillness, that what we call, being while you're doing, that in and of itself amplifies what we call a positive morphic field, or a light radius. So as people practice that, and that's free, free, it's free, and it's so powerful, because I was one that shunned meditation for decades because I just couldn't get on the bandwagon of sitting there for 60 minutes every day. I just wouldn't do it. I'm just like, I'm not going to do it. So if I can be while I do, and I can meditate on the fly, or stillness on the fly, and I see the positive results of that, and I can teach people that, then as people learn that, they become their own shield, if you will. They become more of them. They become so strong in their selves and their frequency and their connection to source, that then negative energies really can't touch you. Now, it's a process. It's not overnight. There's maybe some things that need to heal as you go through this process. And maybe you need some help or support in doing it. But it is the number one thing that, people can learn, and it's free. Did we say it's free? It's free.
Yeah.
To auto heal.
So to get this, it's in the Navigating the Clickety Clack book. You have a link there. I think it's in your bio to get it, correct? Yeah. So I think that's the free gifts are amazing. So like, take advantage of that, people. Check
out the book's free gifts. And there's so many awesome ones. Yours awesome, and my mentor Marcus Bird, who's in there, his pyramid meditation is amazing for manifesting.
I'm going to be interviewing him in a few podcasts, I think.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's on the books. I can't wait. He seems awesome. All the authors in Clickety Clack are amazing.
They are.
And so someone said about a change of mindset. Is that, can that be a part of changing a sensitive soul's changing resonance? Is a mindset change? Someone's asking.
Yeah, that's a really great question. In my chapter in the Sensitivities Your Superpower book, there's a chapter called Perception, Kung Fu, and the Reframe Reliever. So we go through step by step. How to take any obstacle. And I had this happen last week. I actually did a Facebook Live on it. And because I'm a sensitive soul, I can tune into when other people feel similarly bad, if you will. I don't like to use the word bad as a judgment, but just like put in quotes, not feeling our bubbly, joyful self.
Yeah.
And I'm like bawling on the Facebook Live going, here we go, But really, it's like those are momentary, like some people think, law of attraction, you should never feel bad. Oh my God, you attract bad things. It's like, no. That's very
bored with that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have to be able to honor the human experience, which is feeling emotions. So I was feeling some low emotions last week. It happened to be the week that I found out about my uncle as well. And so, some of that is in there, but I just go into that stillness space. And it helps to transform that. And what's really neat is that Perception Kung Fu, it's like reframing whatever you're experiencing is to something that does serve you. And that takes a little practice, but it's not hard. I love doing it in workshop format. It is hilarious what people come up with.
Yes, I bet.
For things that happen that's bad. So mindset is absolutely very, very important. And what I find with sensitive souls is sometimes they're feeling so much in their body, they can't even get to the mind. So that's why we start with the body. That's why we start with the body. We start with stillness in the body, feeling the body, honoring that space, and then giving them specific techniques to manage some of those symptoms, because the mindset actually does seem to happen much, much faster in that way.
Right. Do you find a lot of people aren't in their body some of the time?
Yeah.
A lot of the time it's like, oh, it's yucky in here. I don't want to feel that.
Oh, yeah. I'm like the poster child of, let's just go up here.
It's more fun up here.
Yes. And that's why a lot of people have sensitive souls anyway have headaches, because they're stoppered right here. And this is a sensitive area for me, which ended up as thyroid issues before, neck pain, congestion, because it's a little bit smaller volume here. And when all that, the ascension energies come pouring down through the crown, I literally sometimes have to like make that intention to ground it, like to get it down and into the rest of my body. Otherwise, if it gets stuck up here, it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, so I'm a sensitive soul as well. And yeah, so everything you're saying, I can relate to, and I experience it in different ways, but it's, and I think just I've learned to recalibrate or change resonance just because that's what I do. I go around
Right.
changing resonance, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've learned to, and I'm working on in a course now to get me in the body. It's like, no, even when I'm talking to people, be in here. You know, I can feel people's pain. And I know last week was rough for me too. I was like, I'm like, everything's great in my life. It's fabulous in gratitude, but I feel this deep sadness at the same time, these conflicting emotions at the same time. And yeah, then identify, is this mine? And you talk about that too. Is this even my sadness? Maybe a little bit. And it was a lot of collective and family.
Oh yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all. I mean, I think we are, if there's one thing for sure, we talked earlier about people becoming more and more sensitive, not just the kids that are, getting born right now, but just even adults. And I think that empathy piece, how else are we going to heal this world, right? Like how else are we going to manifest world peace and joy and sustainability? It's through empathy. Empathy is an incredible thing. Thanks, Brene Brown, for making it, headline topic. And that means that sometimes, we do get to feel other people's stuff, and it's not necessarily bad. I think it becomes a disability when you can't discern. And then you don't know what to do with those energies. So that's what we want to teach you in the book here.
In the sensitivity is your superpower. Yeah, where you're not a victim to the feelings. You're using it as information to then maybe do good, do something with it, and that's why it's a superpower.
Yes, and even non-senses can tune in and tap into it as well. It's just that sometimes they don't know that there's a problem, so they don't go looking for a solution. Whereas highly sensitive people see it as a problem because they feel victimized by it. They have autoimmune, ADD, they're on these medications for depression, anxiety, it's not getting better. They've seen all these counselors and doctors, and they're so fed up and nobody understands them. They have pain all over, and I'm like, I get it. I've been there, and we see it all the time in our sensitive soul tribe. So that's why the book is speaking to them. But it doesn't mean everybody else can't have the same skills. They can. They just don't know to look for it. But if they want to hone it and harness it, then by all means, get the book and learn these skills yourself.
Get the book. I work with police officers, doctors. I work with a lot of people that wouldn't classify themselves as sensitive souls. And when I kind of point out that, you get that gut feeling, that's your intuition, that's a psychic gift. And it's wording it in ways where their brains is like, oh, okay, it's not just this weird thing. It's actually this woo-woo stuff you're talking about, but it's not so woo-woo. So yeah.
I like what you said earlier about that, the whole science, right? Because a lot of the top, biophysicists, quantum physicists are right on board with the whole spirituality thing, because they can see how that all works in the big picture. Exactly. And even though that may not be the majority of scientists on the planet, I think it's a beautiful, bridge that we now have between science and spirituality.
I am getting spirit chills, so you are right on. You are right on about that. It's bridge time. It's merging, integrating. So, well, okay. I'm going to see if there's any last questions before we tune off. Do you want to just let everyone know again, Karen, how they can look you up or find you, or tell us again about the book, how to get it?
Sure. So the book launch party is tomorrow, so 1 p.m. on December 10th Eastern, and it's free registration. We're actually going to be doing the transformational telepathy workshop, and the book's going to be 99 cents on Kindle, $14.99 on paperback, which is $5 less for a couple of days during launch week. And so folks can go to superpowerbooklaunchparty.com and go to the webinar registration page. And then what we're going to be doing is posting on Facebook and emailing tomorrow on launch day the actual gift link. So I can't tell it to you right now, because what people will do is they'll buy the book too early, or try to buy the book too early. So we'll give the launch specific link for those $1,000 of bonus gifts tomorrow. So check out the Facebook page, and if you're on my email list through being registered at the book launch party, then we'll share that link live as well.
Okay, now if people tell me the link one more time. Someone's asking for me to post it, and I'll put it on here.
KarenCan.com. We're going to have a link right from the website on there.
Oh,
and yes. And then I think what we'll probably do is the superpowerbooklaunchparty.com. I'll just forward that link to the book page where all the bonuses are.
Oh, good. Okay. So best thing is to go to KarenCan.com.
Yes. So what I'm having some technical issues with my website right now. So it's not showing the picture of the book for some reason on there. But sure people can also find it on Amazon, of course. But for the bonus gifts, I would say go to my Facebook page and PM me if you can't find it.
Okay. So go to Karen Can, the Facebook page, Karen Can.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And do you have any other way people can get in touch with you other than Facebook, website? Those are the two main channels?
Yeah, Facebook I'm on quite a bit. I have Instagram as well. The best way is to join my Facebook group, which is the lightwarriornetwork.com. It goes direct to the Facebook group right now. Ooh. In the future, it might go to MeWe because, depending on censorship and all that, who knows? Yeah. So right now, lightwarriornetwork.com will forward to whichever social media we are using at the time.
Okay.
To join. So we do monthly mini healings and kind of weekly activities to support each other, prayers and,
Lovely. I think we need that. The Light Warrior Network.
Network.com.
Yes, because we need community, and we need to be here for each other to do these kind of things together as a group, because that makes it even more powerful. So, well, Karen, thanks so much for being
on.
Yay! Yay for us.
That was so fun. Yay for us.
Badasses, Alchemists, Mystics, right here. All right. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on BAM, Badasses, Alchemists, Mystics. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Trisha.
Thank you.